So a typical question that we have somebody call up and say, is this safe? And at the end of the day, what we do is we have the doctor perform lab testing on you based upon your symptoms. From there, he would determine what type of ideally natural or, if needed, prescription medication is required to get you to where you need to be based on your symptomatology. So he can talk about potential risks or side effects, but our overall goal is to get you well in the short term and the long term. So we don't prescribe or do anything that's going to damage you in any way in that regard. And we are, again, vendor or product neutral, so we're not pushing a vitamin or a supplement or a type of medicine. Our goal is to do detective analysis to figure out what's going on inside you and how we can make you better. Another typical question we have is this covered by insurance? Most insurance companies do reimburse for the vast majority of what the doctor does here. It does vary from insurance company to insurance company, and we as an elective wellness center don't directly file with insurance. Our doctor spends up to an hour with each patient each time, and insurance reimbursements simply aren't conducive to support that type of medical or business model. So the answer is it depends. It depends on your insurance, but most people do get a pretty good reimbursement back from insurance, but it does depend on the insurance they have. Who are our typical patients? Our typical female patient is a woman from 35 to about 55, 60, although we have patients from 17 to 79 today. But they typically say, I don't feel as well as I used to. I don't sleep as well. I'm more fatigued during the day. I have this gut that just came on that I've never had my whole life. So really what we typically treat are adult onset challenges, disorders, weight gains, hot flashes, fatigue, low libido, things of that nature. So a specially trained doctor will work with you and do some pretty sophisticated testing and find out what's going on with your internal chemistries, and then try to prescribe natural medications to get you feeling like you used to. So the typical male patient is a male from 35 to about 55 or 60, usually eats well, works out, and has a paradigm of I'm going to be the best I can be, seeks out and finds a center like us. So he typically does everything right and then says, you know what, although I'm doing all the same things I used to do, I don't feel like I used to do. My energy's not quite there, I'm a little burned out, I have this gut that I certainly didn't have in my 20s that's just been very difficult for me to get rid of. Maybe libido's down, my sharpness is down, things of that nature. And so we have a very high success rate working with very successful guys getting back to optimal vitality. In terms of weight loss, we do some things with weight loss. We do two things. First is the doctor will meet with you, take a look at your internal chemistries and find out if there's anything there amiss that might be causing you to gain weight later in life. So there's really two types of weight management we do. One is, for the person who has always been in relatively good shape their whole life, relatively thin, but then they turn 40, 45, whatever age it might be, and they say all of a sudden this gut's come on. I don't feel like I used to. I don't want to work out like I used to. I'm more fatigued. So we take those people, do pretty detailed lab testing, and find out what's changed from when you were 25 to 45 or 40, and what can we do to roll back your physiology from a hormone perspective to where it used to be. And typically what happens, people say, I feel better, is the first thing they say. Because I feel better, I work out like I used to. I want to go to the gym. I have the energy, so I don't have to eat sugary snacks throughout the day to get that boost. I feel good, and their hormones are such that when they do work out, they do exercise, they recover like they used to. Metabolism goes back to the way it used to. And it's kind of, we do some things, and they do some things, and they have phenomenal results relatively quickly. There's another type of weight loss that we're doing, and it's for folks that have had more of a lifelong struggle losing weight. And the physician here is using something called an HCG diet, which has been around for, several years, but we've been very slow to jump on the bandwagon because the doctors wanted to make sure it was safe and effective. And there are more and more clinics doing it, the more and more success stories. So we recently decided to offer that, and that is something called HCG, a physician-supervised program in conjunction with a special diet that really has some phenomenal effects at dropping weight very quickly. We've seen people in a 30, 40-day window lose, believe it or not, 30 or 40 pounds, which to us was hard for us to believe. So that's why it took us a little while, or the doctors a little while, to adopt that. But those are the two types of weight loss we offer today.